Welcome. My name is Carl Danneberger. The topic of this presentation is Albert Warren, or A.W., Tillinghast, America's first prominent architect. Albert Warren Tillinghast was born to wealth in 1875 in Philadelphia. His father, who was a rubber baron along with his mom, doted over Albert, or as he was known as Tilly, spoiling him rotten. Tilly developed into a juvenile delinquent who was known to say, "I never finished a school I started." He joined the infamous street gang of Philadelphia known as the Kelly Street Gang. Much to the surprise of the gang and to most people who knew him, he married at the age of 20 a beautiful woman named Lillian Heath Quigley. As a spouse or father, Tillinghast would not win any awards like Husband of the Year or Father of the Year. Lillian, however, remained a loyal wife until his death in 1942. Tillinghast visited St. Andrews, where he took golf lessons from old Tom Morris. With repeated trips back to St. Andrews, he developed a strong affection for golf and its history, along with an appreciation for the aesthetics on which the game was played. Tillinghast became an accomplished golfer, competing in the U.S. Amateur from 1905 through 1915, and finished 25th in the 1910 U.S. Open at Philadelphia Cricket Club, where he often played. In 1907, through a friend, Tillinghast was asked to design his first course in eastern Philadelphia. With favorable reviews from this simple beginning, Tillinghast went on to design over 265 golf courses. Tillinghast was an artist when it came to designing courses, detesting the idea of brawn over finesse. He preferred to emphasize the approach shot into the green, which were often small and tightly bunkered. In this photograph, he proposed the double dogleg par 5, which required 3 shots, all of them placed in the proper location. Golf course designs by Tillinghast varied considerably, often being dictated by the topography and what kind of mood he was in. Tillinghast was known as Tilly the Terror. He would often terrorize the laborers into doing what he wanted them to do. Plus, the alcohol he consumed probably didn't help much. During the 1920s, Tillinghast did most of his work along the eastern coast of the United States and close to Canada, due to Prohibition. Canada was an oasis for getting alcohol. Actually, Tillinghast would often wave a pistol around a spacious mansion in New Jersey during his periods of heavy drinking and partying, sometimes even disappearing for weeks with no one knowing where he went. Sounds to me like an earlier version of Elvis Presley. Probably not the best analogy, but I wanted to show one of the few remaining LPs I have left. Tillinghast liked to give the golf holes names, like the ones he has outlined here for one of the golf courses he was designing. Also notice the address for his design company. He did like to spend money. One of the more famous holes he designed is called the Duel at San Francisco Golf Club. This is a picture of what it looked like originally and what it looks like now. The now picture, or this picture, is from the San Francisco Golf Club website. Tillinghast liked to put considerable contour into his greens, similar to Mackenzie and Ross. The Duel, which is the 7th hole at San Francisco Golf Club, was constructed on the spot where in 1859 California Supreme Court Justice David S. Terry shot dead U.S. Senator David C. Broderick in what is believed to have been the country's last formal duel, thus the name. During the 1920s, Tillinghast became a millionaire several times over and lived like one, squandering away money on things like supporting Broadway shows. And then when the market crashed in 1929, he lost everything. Tillinghast did a few courses in the 1930s, Bethpage in 1937, but for the most part lost interest. He and his wife moved to Beverly Hills, California, setting up an antique store that sold mainly all the expensive stuff he had accumulated over the years. Tillinghast did try to get back into the golf course design business with Billy Bell. That was relatively short-lived. Probably from years of abuse, Tillinghast had a heart attack in 1940, and he and his wife moved to Toledo to live with their daughter. He passed away in 1942. Tillinghast was forgotten until the 1974 U.S. Open at Winged Foot, when the executive director of the USGA at that time, Frank Hannigan, hailed him as the forgotten genius of American golf in a national article. From that point on, renewed interest in Tillinghast grew and continues today. Tillinghast golf courses varied considerably, fitting to the land that the course was built on. This book cover probably represents Tillinghast's design philosophy, strategic in nature, and a sip or two from a flask. To me, he was an artist that designed golf courses, and probably lived like a stereotypic artist too. Some of the courses that he designed include Baltusrol Golf Club. Here's a view looking toward the clubhouse, and a shot of the golf course. And just down the road from Baltusrol is Ridgewood Country Club, which he designed too. Here is a vista shot across the 6th green out onto the golf course. Winged Foot Golf Club, which is traditionally one of the most difficult U.S. Open venues. Bethpage Black, a true municipal golf course that has hosted the United States Open. This is the 4th at Bethpage Black, reflecting the strategic design that was common with Tillinghast designs. A par 5 that once you hit a good tee shot to the fairway, you were faced with either laying up to the right of the green or trying for the green with your second shot. And now as we stand on the 18th tee looking down on the 17th green at Bethpage, it is time to bring this presentation to a close.